Hi guys. So let's look at the timeline together just to keep up. We just finished with Sirens. We survived. Kind of Odysseus was a little bit selfish here, but we're moving on. So literally they just left the Sirens, and right next to them is Scylla and Charybdis. And you get to see some of my amazing drawing skills today when we talk about that. But ready, here we go. I'm on page 583 in the actual textbook. Let's go team.
Scylla and Charybdis. But scarcely had that island faded in blue air than I saw smoke and white water, with sound of waves in tumult. A sound the men heard, and it terrified them. Oars flew from their hands. The blades went knocking wild alongside till the ship lost way, with no oar blades to drive her through the water. Well, I walked up and down from bow to stern, trying to put heart into them, standing over every oarsman, saying gently, "Friends, have we never been in danger before this? More fearsome is it now than when the Cyclops penned us in his cave? What power he had! Did I not keep my nerve and use my wits to find a way out for us? Now I say, by hook or crook, this peril too shall be something that we remember. Heads up, lads. We must obey the orders as I give them."
So this is kind of, let's see, bring you back to me. There you go. This part where Odysseus is speaking, starting at like line 766, is really actually a great look at him as a leader. His men are terrified. He sees that. They are freaking out. And he's like, "Men, friends." He calls them friends, which, you know, makes you feel more comfortable. Have we never been in danger before this? More fearsome is it now than when the Cyclops was with us? And so he's talking, he's like, "We've already faced worse things than this, so this isn't even that bad. Like, we can do this." And then he says, "Now by hook or crook, this peril too is something that we can remember. So like, we're going to survive this, and we'll remember this, and we'll move on from this and keep going on our journey." Then he says, "Make sure you obey the orders as I give them." So he's like, "You definitely have to listen to me. So we have to do this together." So he's kind of giving his men a pep talk. And he is also reminding them, "You have to listen to me. I know how to help us through this, but you have to listen to me." So let's hear what he has to say.
Your shafts in your hands and lay back hard on your benches. Hit these breaking seas. Zeus, help us pull away before we founder. You at the tiller, listen and take in all that I say. The rudders are your duty. Keep her out of the combers and the smoke. Steer for that headland. Watch the drift, or we fetch up in the smother and you drown us. That was all, and it brought them round to action. But as I sent them on towards Scylla, I told them nothing, as they could do nothing. They would have dropped their oars again in panic to roll for cover under the decking. Circe's bidding against arms had slipped my mind, so I tied on my cuirass and took up 2 heavy spears, then made my way along to the foredeck, thinking to see her first from there, the monster of the gray rock harboring torment for my friends. I strained my eyes upon the cliffside veiled in cloud, but nowhere could I catch sight of her.
So he does leave out something from his men about what they're about to face. He doesn't exactly give specifics. And you can kind of decide, does that make him a good leader or bad? Because it doesn't matter what he tells them, they have to face it. So I think his rationale was, I mean, I might as well just not tell them and just tell them to listen to me. I'll get us through this, rather than saying, "Hey, we're going to face this really terrible monster and some of you guys are going to die." Or all of us are going to die, because that's what's about to happen. You can see atop of 584 that they kind of have this picture of it. I'm going to draw us a picture on the board too, just to kind of help us out. I think it definitely does make a bit of a difference. Here we go. So, not an art teacher, I'm a lit teacher, we're gonna deal with it. So as they're sailing on the waters, see, it's showing up right, it's showing up great. He's gonna face Scylla and Charybdis. Now, Charybdis is a giant whirlpool, not a fridge and not a dishwasher, but a huge, like, sentient, magical whirlpool. And so it sucks ships down. So actually the whole thing is like it sucks stuff down into the depths of the waters, and then like holds it down there and then spews it all back out like a geyser. I think honestly just because it can. Then on the other side of what they're facing, they have the land, and there's like a cave in the rocks, and it's real dark and stuff. And here is Scylla. And, you know, great drawing skills here. And I know it's going to have like a tail or something because I feel like it. And Scylla freaks me out because Scylla has 6 heads. Oh, running out of room. There we go. So got an angry Scylla because she's very upset. And they're gonna open their mouths and be all hungry, rah, they got fangs, I don't know. Whatever you need it to be scary. So for whatever reason, I think maybe there is more land over here. Like, they cannot get their ship anywhere except through these two places. So Charybdis and Scylla. The way I remember it, because you do need to make sure you know the difference, is Charybdis sounds like Caribbean, and it's like, a water kind of place, so that's the water-based one. And Scylla has 6 heads and 6 letters. So 6 letters, 6 heads, that's just how I remember it. Figure out what works best for you, just make sure you know the difference. Let's see, if I turn off the lights, can I see better? Nope, kind of. That actually works out okay. Hooray for sunlight. So Scylla, Charybdis. Now, this is what they're up against. So let's hear what he has to say. Odysseus didn't tell his men about either of these things.
And all this time, in travail, sobbing, gaining on the current, we rowed into the strait. Scylla to port, and on our starboard beam, Charybdis.
Did I do this right? I don't know if I did for port and starboard. It might be backwards for you guys anyways. But basically, Odysseus and his men are on their ship. And they have to head straight through. Odysseus was told by Circe, the whole part about like his scabbard or whatever, is she said there's no point in trying to fight with weapons. You can't kill Scylla. But he like forgets that, and he's like, I put on my weapons and I held spears, and I was ready to take them on, but like he can't kill them. So he just kind of forgot that detail. Take from that what you will. So he's got all these little men. There we go. Here we go.
Dire gorge of the salt sea tide. By heaven, when she vomited, all the sea was like a cauldron, seething over intense fire when the mixture suddenly heaves and rises. The shocked spume soared to the landside heights and fell like rain. But when she swallowed the seawater down, we saw the funnel of the maelstrom, heard the rock bellowing all around, and dark sand raged on the bottom far below. My men all blanched against the gloom. Our eyes were fixed upon that yawning mouth in fear of being devoured.
So this is the yawning mouth, and so when they look, as it's like whirlpooling down, they can see at the bottom there's all these rocks and stuff that I'm sure would rip their ship apart. So they don't want to go down there. And it pulls stuff in and it spews it back out really, really big. And so let's be honest, if their ship got taken down there and everything got broken up and it holds the water down there for a while, they're all going to die. So it's not going to end well.
Then Scylla made her strike, whisking 6 of my best men from the ship. I happened to glance aft at ship and oarsmen and caught sight of their arms and legs dangling high overhead. Voices came down to me in anguish, calling my name for the last time. A man surf casting on a point of rock for bass or mackerel, whipping his long rod to drop the sinker and the bait far out, will hook a fish and rip it from the surface to dangle wriggling through the air. So these were borne aloft in spasms toward the cliff.
All right, so with with Scylla, 6 heads, so it takes how many men? 6 men, 1 per mouth. I'll go ahead and draw that in for us too, for funsies. And so now you can kind of see why Odysseus didn't tell his men what was coming up, because, oh, that's a big person, good Lord. Because 6 of them were going to have to die. He knew that. Because he knew from Circe that Scylla was going to take some men. So once she has 6 guys in her mouth, the other can pass through because her mouth is full. She literally cannot hold anything else right now. So she's eating them in and they're dying. And honestly, the little haunting bit is their last words are Odysseus' name, which is kind of a lot. So her mouths are all full so the ship can skate through and avoid Charybdis and avoid Scylla. We'll get to use this lovely picture again later. So then it uses an epic simile, and at line 815, it compares how a person is fishing and how they will hook a fish and rip it from the surface, dangling through the air. So if you're fishing and you hook a fish, you pull it out, and obviously it's trying to survive, so it is flouncing all around and flailing and whatever. So these were borne aloft and spasmed toward the cliff. these in the sentence are the 6 guys who are dying. And so as they're being pulled out, they're all wriggling and screaming, and they're calling for their leader, Odysseus, and he can't do anything. And the last thing they say before they die is his name.
She ate them as they shrieked there in her den, in the dire grapple, reaching still for me. And deathly pity ran me through at that sight, far the worst I ever suffered, questing the passes of the strange sea. We rowed on. The rocks were now behind, Charybdis too, and Scylla dropped astern.
So they've made it past, and they've made it through, and they lost their 6 men, and they continue forward. So let's see. We arrived at Syracuse Island with 23 guys. Then we lost Elpwinter, and he died on the roof, so that's down to 22. So now we just lost 6 dudes, so we're kind of starting to dwindle in numbers. We're down to 16. So you have 16 people on this ship trying to get home together. And we'll see how it goes. I'll see you guys again for the next story for Cattle of the Sun God. Bye, guys.